Tuesday, August 15th, 2023 at 9:11 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. I'm Mitch Miller. This is my video journal. So I want to talk about some of my equipment, some of my machines. I brought up some of the equipment I inherited yesterday. I want to talk about the Ford Explorer I inherited from my grandfather that's still living, Grandpa Miller. I sent a letter about the program to Ford, about keeping these old vehicles on the road to see how their computers break down. Got a generic letter from Ford back. Just says, we value your opinion and we realize we have to keep the buying public's interests in mind, and here's information to call us or email us or chat with us online. Generic response. It does say that my letter is in their system now at Ford. I don't know if they scanned it, took a picture of it or what, but that letter is floating around in the Ford computer system somewhere, probably. According to this letter, it is. The Ford Explorer has a shimmy in the steering column. It didn't really happen to me when I test drove it a couple times this weekend. It was low on steering fluid. Took it to the mechanic in Polk, Joe. He thinks I need a new rack and pinion and a new power steering pump. So with his labor and the parts, it'd be around $700-800. He said the fluid in there is totally black. We'd have to get all that out of there. They did add some fluid, and it is doing a little better. I plugged the anti-lock brake sensors back in, thinking maybe there's some kind of sensor for the power steering on that, and that was causing it, because I started noticing it after I unplugged those sensors. I can't justify putting $800 into this vehicle. Dad thinks we can crack the line and empty that old fluid out, and there might be air in the line, and that might be what's causing it. That's what Danny Bryan told us happened with one of his Explorers. I told my grandpa I'm going to offer it to all the grandkids, my generation of grandkids. If they want it, I'll sign it over to them for free. If they don't, I'll see how much Danny Bryan will give me for it, for parts or whatever. I have probably $500 into it at this point, maybe $600. But yeah, if Ford's not going to help with this program, I'm going to let go of it, I think, even though Dad thinks we can work on it. I might humor him for a while. I do need to get the 40-foot ladder on the roof rack over to Conneaut Lake to paint Lori and Casey's house, part of it, and then get it back over to Utica. We'll need it for that. Hopefully it can make that final voyage. So that's the update on the Explorer. If you're trying to contact me, my cell phone number is on the FrenchCreekFarms.com website. French Creek Farms with an S at the end. Farms.com. If you go to the contact page, I have updated my cell phone onto that page. I took Beth Bryan's number off and put my cell phone on there. So if you'd like to contact me about maybe getting me $5,000 cash instead of a check, my number is published on the internet with a reputable business. Alright, the TCL smart television in my living room. that is not working. Might be a backlight issue. I think we're going to buy a new 55-inch Westinghouse television. My friend Don worked for Westinghouse in the nuclear division. Hopefully we can keep these reactors stable by connecting the Westinghouse smart television, Roku smart television, into our internet system. And we will take the TCL down into the basement. I will hook it into the internet system there. The Apple device will come unplugged. And then in the new year, in January, February, when I don't have much to do, I will try to replace the part that it needs myself. Right? We have these right to fix, right to repair laws going through. We're going to check YouTube, research the internet, and see if there's videos and things that show me how to take apart this TCL television, replace the part for the backlight, and get it working again. So I'm going to try to fix it myself before I recycle it or trash it, whatever happens with it. I guess I'll try to recycle it. But who knows if they're actually recycling these things? They're just sending them to a landfill in China, right? You have to take this equipment back, China, because you made it, and then we have landfills with little 9-year-old kids running around in toxic waste dumps. It's a beautiful world. I have a plan for television sets. It has to do with the celebrities coming together and fixing the streaming systems. It all comes together. If you'd like to hear that plan, contact me. Again, my phone number's on the FrenchCreekFarms.com website. They might be blocking my websites, but they shouldn't be blocking Ken Bryan, a veteran, a small business owner, and a probably county commissioner, right? So you should be able to access that website. Also, if you email the French Creek Farms 2021 Gmail account, I check that every morning. So a couple different ways to get a hold of me. Alright, so TCL Smart Television. Alright, so I did plug in the Magellan GPS device that I believe links up with satellite systems. It's in my basement. I should put it in the attic so that the weakest signal possible is needed to pick it up. Maybe we'll move it up there eventually. For now, it's in my basement. It was showing that it was in Katanning or something. I punched in my home address, 4914 Scioto Street. It gave directions to get here, and then over the course of an hour, it relocated so that the device is located at this address. So we have our reference point, right, our Magellan satellite reference point, our GPS, so that these older satellites that used to work with those Magellans, those satellites can coordinate off of this reference point at my address. The last thing I'll bring up is Hillary will be booking her flight to South Korea either today or tomorrow. So she's booking that trip, and I'm hoping she doesn't have any issues with that. I noticed a headline on Reddit or something that a bunch of jet engines were recalled and a bunch of routes are being affected by that. Hopefully she doesn't have any issue with it, and she's able to visit South Korea for work. Again, I would like to go. I can't make it work budget-wise, and I have appointments that could be rescheduled, but would like to go see my friends, but we could always go back some other time, and when it's a leisure trip and she doesn't have to work every day, right? So that we can both enjoy South Korea. The only thing I would say is that it might be strategically smart to get this USB with these videos into South Korea. I have my excuse of I don't agree with people spying on me in my hotel room, so I put this USB and the television in there to try to deter people from listening to my conversations in my hotel room. Okay, so I think I covered all the bases. Hooked the landline telephone up, tuned the radio into NPR 90.5. It works, the radio works, the television or the telephone is a little quiet on the volume. There's no way to adjust that. But that telephone is plugged in, and both to the power and to the landline Magic Jack, and it is working. I haven't called out yet to make sure that my voice is picked up outside of here, but I was able to get sound and listen to messages on that phone. Oh, the other thing I will say is that Casey Kohler should be arriving in Florida with his Porsche. We have that reference point that's connected to me through relations. I will say this. I was researching a theory I had about Porsches and the shipping containers they're brought over in, and gets into a whole thing about human trafficking and the connection to a German auto manufacturer, specifically high-end manufacturer, because these wealthy people are all connected to things in some way. It's a little bit of a delusional theory, but I did investigate it to some degree, as with all my investigations. I went to the Porsche dealership right down the street from me, a few blocks away. I went in, talked to a salesperson in there, asked if there was any way they could look up a VIN, because I wrote down Casey Kohler's VIN number and trace how it was shipped here and so on and so forth. They didn't have any of that information. Basically, they run the whole dealership off a laptop. You go in, you order your vehicle online through a laptop. Pick the color, the model, the make, the trim, the accessories. You punch it all into a laptop, they order it up, and it ships to the dealership however long it takes to put that vehicle together. It's all made to order Porsches. That's how that dealership works. They don't really have much stock. Everybody is so high-end and everybody's so wealthy that they just order exactly what they want. Porsche builds it in Germany, probably ships it here, and they have it in a half year or a couple months or whatever. So there was no complex computer system in that Porsche dealership. It was simply Wi-Fi and laptops that the salespeople worked off of. Alright, so I think that's all I wanted to cover today. Join me possibly tomorrow or later in the week when I talk about something else. I'm sure I'll come up with something else. Tomorrow, obviously, I'm going to make a withdrawal from my government-issued debit card, and cross your fingers, there's 100K in that account, right? Because it would be nice to withdraw the cash to pay for a vehicle with cash, right? To buy the federal government fleet vehicle with cash outright. The reason, my logic for this is no bank has a lien on it. No group of bankers, no consortium of bankers has any reason to track or trace that vehicle wherever it goes. No reason to spy on its location, get updates on its location. I bought it cash, outright. I own it outright. Nobody should be tracking it. Nobody should be tracing it. Right? And whoever does should have a warrant to do so. So that's my logic. So the sooner that cash is there, the more I can withdraw at $600 per day, and hopefully save up enough to buy a vehicle outright. I could always, if the money's there, I could always borrow some money from Hillary to make the full purchase. Anyhow, that's the program we're focused on is we'll call it the State Capitals Tour, the photography of every state capital. I hope you send a check. I hope you contact me and give me cash. I think it's important that we turn these listening devices back on the people who allowed them to be installed into every house and hotel room. They didn't do a good job of warning the public about how they could be abused and spied upon. And so now someone like me that has warned people for 10, 15 years, and there are people like me that are aware of this technology, but the general population doesn't accept that they could be spied on anywhere they go. Now maybe the supercomputers will help us to cut corruption in the government and then in the corporate sector as well. Okay, as always, I wish you peace, prosperity, and homeostasis.